Hey there, everyone. Welcome to a new Spaces with Livy. I'm here with George and with James, and we're going to talk about the amazing company that is Stampseed, the great product, and so much more. And before I give you guys the time to introduce yourself, I want to remind everyone 15% discount using Love is Bitcoin directly in with Stampseed. So you can save some sats there. And as always, check out all the coupons codes we have so that you can save more sats. How are you doing today, George?
Hello, Flo. Hi, I'm George. Hi, I'm great. And we have a great guest today. It's James. James, who is a part of the Stampseed team. We've met in person. I met him in BTC Prague at their booth, and I really liked their product, and I got it for myself. And then we started talking, and now I'm very happy to announce that they are sponsoring the Santorini Halving Party. At the Santorini Halving Party, I will demonstrate how to use the Stampseed metal storage solution in a proof of work session. Basically, we will hammer things on metal and have some fun. But I always like to have tactile things, you know. When I teach something, I don't want it to be just a lecture. I like to get people to do something, get their hands dirty, and hopefully not hammer any of their thumbs. So, James, yeah, turn on your mic and say hi, man.
Welcome, James. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, hi George. Hey Flo, everyone listening. Nice to be here with you guys. Obviously, I'm James from Stampseed. Yeah, and like George said, we met in person at Bitcoin Prague, June of 23. Well, last year for the first Bitcoin Prague conference, which was really cool. And actually, we've been working with Love is Bitcoin. I think you guys were the first Twitter account that we really started working with early on in the Stampseed days. So you guys been with us the whole ride so far.
Well, happy to help you get the word out because we only work with quality companies and quality products. And basically, we select all our sponsors so that they're Bitcoin first, if we can't get them to be Bitcoin only, so that they're Bitcoin first. And that ethos is very important for us. So it fits, it just fits. It's a perfect solution to secure your seeds. We will talk about this.
So James, we wanted to know, like, what was like the motivation when you started to think about Stampseed, when you created when you started to think about this product, and like, why did you choose to start to focus on a metal solution?
Yeah, I can definitely provide a little bit about that. It's a little bit of a story. And I work since 2017 as a digital advertiser where we are constantly going through search terms that people are using online to search for products in order for our search ads to show up on something like Google Ads. And one of the companies I work for deals with metal stamping tools, everything that you see in the Stampseed kit for people who would do something like making jewelry or marking tools themselves, or various applications for punching letters into different metals. So going through the search terms, seed plate storage or seed phrase storage was something that kept registering. And being someone who was into the Bitcoin space at the time, a little early on into my Bitcoin journey, it was something that registered to me. I knew it was related to hardware wallets. It was something that rung a bell. So naturally, the company that I was working with, I partnered together with to present this idea to utilize their concept to develop a stamp seed kit that enables you to basically punch letter stamps into titanium plates. So ultimately, I was working for a company that already had similar tools, and then we did some R&D on titanium storage because it's a much harder metal than is traditionally used for stamping into metal. People use a lot of aluminum and copper and brass and things like that. So we did some R&D to make the kit a little bit more beefed up. It meant to be stamped into that hard metal like titanium or even steel. And ultimately, I turned what was I call my fiat job into a Bitcoin job, and now it's stamp seed full time. And it was a natural fit to automatically gravitate towards a solution that was a flat plate that we were stamping the metal into, because that's something we were pretty much already doing. So the story of why we got into the Bitcoin space was really through just discovery from back end search terms that people are looking for digital ads, and that's really what sparked the whole journey. And along the way, like I said early on, I wasn't much a hardcore Bitcoiner in 2019, and I had some, but slowly as Stampsy started becoming built out, my Bitcoin journey also really began, and to the point where it's on Bitcoin only at this point.
I love to hear it. Yeah, we love that it's Bitcoin only, and everyone has like this road that you have to walk through, and well, you have to learn and live it to actually get to the point where you understand why Bitcoin only is so important. And you were talking like about the process of like well, punching or stamping different metals, and I actually want to know the difference between like punching and stamping. Is there a difference?
Yeah, no, I could help with that. Oftentimes, punching and stamping are used interchangeably. Um, you can refer to one of the metal letter stamps as a metal stamp. Some people do call them metal punches as well. But there's also another use for punches where it's just that sort of like small dot that you're putting into a grid seed plate sort of deal, where it's just literally a dot. And that would is that what you mean by punch or?
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
like when we talk, I've heard both terminologies, and I wanted to know if there was a difference, and why did you guys choose one over the other or something?
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to punches versus letter stamps, the punch is just going to be a dot. It's going to look like the period at the end of a sentence, basically. And when doing that, it's different. Whereas our letter set has A through Z, every stamp is its own letter. So you would get, 20. Well, our set is 33 total. You get your letters and your numbers versus just getting the one punch that's a center dot. Now, another key difference is a lot of people may perceive the center dot punch as a lot maybe simpler, maybe more cost effective because you're not buying the whole stamp set. But when you are using that punch, you're now relying on the entire grid that is on the plate. When you're using something like letter stamps that we offer, even if your grid were to become deteriorated away over time, each letter is stamped deeply into the metal versus just being some sort of dot that is living on the plate that's relying on additional information to connect it. The less information you need to rely on, the better in this circumstance, because we're thinking with these seed plates, 50, 100 years out, generational wealth as we're passing it down. And we don't really want to rely on one small dot to represent what a letter would be. We'd rather have the letter actually become the punch itself, and we're stamping that letter deeply into titanium to the point where if the lasered cells numbers 1 through 24 or 1 through 12 were to become disappear or no longer there, it wouldn't matter because everything would still be in order, and your letters are deeply stamped into there.
I understand. So there's also a safety reason why you chose that over the other stuff, and
Yeah.
that's mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
and then
cool.
also like you could have pitting of the metal, or if your plate was just punched with a bunch of little dots, if it got scraped against the floor, it's a lot more chance of that to be confused with other indentations, whereas the letters are always going to look like the letters, basically.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true. Hmm. And you also mentioned a lot like the difference between these metals, but I would love to hear it again. Like, why did you guys go with titanium? Is this, I don't know that much about
Yeah.
metals. So for a regular person, if you can like teach us a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of reasons why we chose titanium. Um, Choosing something that isn't as strong, like aluminum, obviously isn't going to last a house fire or be able to be under heat as long as something like titanium would. So when I really look at titanium, one thing people often ask is how does it compare to steel? Because steel is typically the most popular option for something like seed storage. anything like aluminum or softer metals, I wouldn't even recommend those. Aluminum is a shitcoin in that space. I would recommend titanium or steel. I really don't have anything against the steel particularly. What I like about titanium, what we offer is the melt point is higher than the steel, and it's completely non-corrosive. It will never rust. This is the same titanium that's used in aerospace and things of that nature, so it's highly trusted. It's also a little bit lighter, and the grade of titanium we chose is a little bit softer than the steel, meaning that our letters are able to stamp deeper into it. And you want your letters to be, deeply stamped into the metal as much as possible. If it's just kind of scratching the surface, that's not really going to be enough, because if something were to, I don't know, if you have your seed plate stored in your wall, and let's say, I don't know, your house collapsed and it was scraping against things along the way as it fell down in your house, obviously those scratches would become mixed in with your lightly stamped impressions, and you would be confused. So, you get a little bit of a deeper impression with the titanium that we chose to use. And ultimately, I mean, that's all like pretty much the technical reason, but ultimately it's just much cooler. I mean, like titanium is just a cooler thing to work with. It's a little bit lighter, and I feel like it just has the edge over stainless steel. So that's kind of why we chose to go with it. But, you could use stainless steel. I mean, I've used that in the past. I just had issues with getting a deep enough impression with it.
I really agree with
I
the
want to
cool.
add something here.
Go ahead.
Flo has seen it in person. If you go to their booth at in Prague, James will tell us which conferences he'll attend pretty soon. You will see a completely destroyed plate, a stamp seed plate. They have smashed it to oblivion. They have corroded it. They have burned it. It's completely destroyed, and it's still legible. The letters are still legible. You can see the amount of damage that it has is intense, right? You
Yeah,
had some fun with
absolutely.
that one, James.
Oh, absolutely. That plate went through the ringer. I mean, we did everything to it. We, put it through corrosive acid. We crushed it, hit it with a propane roofing torch. I don't know if you ever saw Elon Musk's not a flamethrower, but it's pretty much the same thing as that we hit it with. And all that stuff's on our website, and you could check it out. And if you go to like our Twitter account, in the header photo, you could see that actual plate. And since then we've done some more testing. On 4th of July, I actually mixed it with a bunch of M80s and tried blowing it up. I also,
Nice one.
yeah,
Nice
we
one. Nice one.
we had
That
some,
should have been a viral video. We should
yeah.
have posted that. That should have been viral.
I did post it, but viral is hard to do these days. But it is posted up there, and I could put some
Yeah.
pictures in the comments on this post as well if you want.
Let's post it again.
Yeah, yeah.
That must be a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Of course,
Oh,
post it
we've done
again
so
so that we
much.
see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I
Yeah.
just want to underline this for the people that when you see it in person, the amount of damage that it can sustain, you can an entire building can fall on top of this metal plate, and if you manage to dig it up, for example, from the rubble, it will still be legible. Okay, no matter what happens. It's you can't believe it if you don't see it in person. It's a
Yeah.
bit unbelievable, but it's true. And
Yeah.
Florencia also has seen it. We have a video. We'll post it again afterwards. She has a demonstration by your business partner. So yeah.
Yeah, that tiny
Absolutely.
plate went all over like it went through the bear market and came back alive. It's like a
Yeah.
hustler in itself.
It's been through a couple cycles, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we actually we had some construction nearby our office, and there were these 5-ton steamrollers passing by, and we actually put it under a 5-ton steamroller. And I think a lot of that stuff is in the highlights of our Twitter page. I put a lot of the testing in there that we do. We also have it in the Long Island Sound since August 12th of 2023. And the plan is to come back there in August 12th of this year and just see how it's done in the salt water of Long Island through the winter, for the entire year. Just see if there's any corrosion of that along the way. But yeah, I mean, it's all
That's
documented.
interesting. So it's exposed to the elements. I've seen that post. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
exposed to the elements, right? It's
yeah,
completely out in the open.
yeah, absolutely. And I think
Nice.
with our product, you can do something like that because there's no nooks and crannies and loose pieces for any dirt or debris to hide and kind of coagulate over time and cause issues or seize up the device. There's no place for water to really hide in, although it's in water. It's just a flat piece of metal. You could actually just dig it, bury it in your backyard the way it is, and not really be at risk for any issues with that. If you were to bury something that had a lot of little hiding spots, like some of these rail-based or cassette-looking seed phrase storage devices, I'd want to put a covering around that first. But with our plate, it's just very durable.
Yeah, that's so
Great,
cool.
great,
Yeah,
wonderful.
Hey,
and
James.
I added I added the Fourth of July post to the comments on the space for you guys if you want to see.
Nice. I wanted to ask you more about like your team, like that's who is behind Stampseed. If you, whatever you can tell me, I know some people like to be more anonymous than other. Also like to know more about yourself too.
Yeah, so the team is small now, indirect team members. I work very closely with Adam, who you have met in Amsterdam and who George met in Prague. We work very closely together, and then we have a graphic designer and somebody who handles some more digital stuff for us. But mostly, we just enjoy working most with the Bitcoin community. Accounts like Love is Bitcoin and just getting friendly with other accounts throughout the space. We've been able to establish relationships and just almost have an extension of our team through other people out there in the Bitcoin space that we worked with. The community is just so strong, and they see the proof of work in the product. They understand the application for it, and it's just been a natural fit when connecting and partnering with other larger accounts. So as for me, I'm the VP of Stampseed. Pretty much been there along the whole way. Came up with the idea, and just focus very heavily on all aspects of the business. I mean, we are a smaller company and we all wear a lot of hats. So when it comes to from product development to partnerships to attending conferences, even building emails sometimes, it's something that I handle mainly. But what I love most is working with other accounts in the space and just getting to understand Bitcoin a little bit more. So that's kind of like the professional side. Me personally, I mean, Bitcoin has really like taken over my life over the past few years, where I'm just constantly finding a next Bitcoin book that I want to read, and I just can't keep up with it at this point anymore. I'm currently reading gradually. Then
No kidding. I have no
right.
idea how that is. I have no
I mean,
idea how that is, like Bitcoin taking over your life.
yes. I mean, I'm stacking Sats and I'm stacking books, and I just really enjoy that. And I never really enjoyed reading so much in the fiat education system, those books that were forced on us. But these Bitcoin books are the education that I've been like looking for. And I'm actually very motivated to constantly read more. So I've been very busy with that and also building Stampseed, just traveling to different conferences, different meetups throughout the country or even the world to just understand the space more and to inform people about Stampseed a little bit more. Um, and then, yeah, other than that, I'm from New York, so I'm living in a state that I would say is almost anti-Bitcoin. Hopefully, warming up to it soon, but it's not a great state to live in if you are a Bitcoiner. And most people in life that I know don't understand Bitcoin still. It's pretty wild. I was talking to a couple of my brothers a couple of weeks ago, and they just still do not understand Bitcoin at all, really. And it just I'm not surprised, but once it actually happens with someone you're like, you realize how much you have learned and how much, how early we still are, I guess. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I just, other than studying Bitcoin in my free time, I just try to keep up with maintaining my property and trying to just figure out ways to provide something else to the world, something that I could build on. Like, what else is there that I could do to help the Bitcoin space? That's kind of where I'm at in life right now.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Is Stampseed your main job right now? Is it like full time? Are you
Yeah.
dedicated to it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm Stampseed full time, but
Okay.
some of the other brands that I've worked for over the years is still things I have hands in. Still, it's almost like an agency level approach on some of the items I do, but Stampseed has become, the full time thing for me where even outside of office hours, it's something that I'm working on or even weekends because it's just something I'm passionate about. To be able to have a job that's tightly woven into the Bitcoin space is, from what I look at, something I should be very happy for. And, we're still very early in terms of Bitcoin. We're still very early in terms of building Stampseed. There's a lot of things that we want to do, and there just doesn't seem to be enough time. So, yeah, short answer, full time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's
Can't wait to hear and see all about what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to show you guys. I mean,
Sorry,
we
Flo.
have a lot of good products that are just kind of like under wraps still, and I want to tell people, but we have to wait. Once they are ready, they will be ready.
Give us a teaser. Give us a teaser. Like, okay, don't say what it is, but at least
I can do
in
that.
what category. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I assume most people listening are in self custody, right? People have seed words. They understand the 12 words, the 24 words, and there might even be some more advanced ways to record your seed words or to configure your wallet. So, I would anticipate a product solution for anyone who's looking into more advanced wallet configuration or setup, and people who are looking to maybe store their seed words in more of a encrypted manner, or more of a, I guess, sharding manner. And then if you have less than 24 words, there might be a solution for you there too. So basically, we want to be able to accommodate people that have more than 24 seed words. So I think I said too much, but I think you get the idea there.
Thank you so much. I hope you show it to
Nice,
us
nice.
before
Yeah.
you show it to the world. I want to see it first.
Yeah, I mean, well, we might be going to Bitcoin Prague coming in June, and if we have anything, we might be bringing and showing people that are at that conference as kind of like some sneak peeks. We'll also be going to Nashville too, and there might be some of that happening there. And then, of course, there's additional products outside of that hint that I just dropped that I definitely can't share yet, but it's going to be exciting. We'll be able to build out the line a little bit more and be able to provide people with solutions that they're asking for right now. Yeah.
Love to hear it.
I
So
wanna ask you something about what you mentioned. You said you're gonna be in Nashville. That's a done deal. You're gonna be with a booth there.
Yes, in Nashville, Bitcoin Nashville. I think it's end of July. We'll have our booth set up there, and feel free, whoever's there listening, you can come by, demo the kit, try it out, see if you enjoy using it. Just stamp a letter, not your whole seed phrase. And you believe it or not, some people actually think when we first started going to these conferences that we were like stamping your seed words for you. So it was kind of a hassle getting through that conversation. But ever since the FTX collapse, no one's asking that question anymore. That everyone knew what self custody was after that happened. So luckily, we're out of doing that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but yeah, you come by, stamp out your seed, and purchase your product. It will be set up there.
Nice. Interesting. Can I ask you something? Do people want to see it in person and see the quality and the strength basically of the kit, or are they okay with buying online? What have you seen?
I think there's just two different types of people, or maybe even more than two regarding that. There's some who get the idea or gist of it, maybe from the website, or maybe even better when people do unboxings or do explanations of the product. They like to see it in somebody's hands, so you do get a good idea of what it is from looking there. But not so much. Not so. I don't have enough data to really say if the people in person, just really don't want to buy it online. I also just think they also like to remain anonymous as well, where they can just purchase it in person with fiat or Lightning at one of these conferences. So I think that would be like the biggest pull instead. But
Okay,
yeah,
so let's give it like a little call to action to the people listening. If you want it online, you can just go to stampseed.com. You can use the coupon code LOVEISBITCOIN to get 15% off, and you can order it like normal. If you want it to be anonymous, at least sort of pseudonymous, and pay in person, you can find them at Nashville and possibly at BTC Prague at their booth. And you can see the quality of the product in person, see the damaged plate, which is very impressive, and get to talk with the guys. But they won't hammer your seed on metal for you. You have to
No,
do it yourself, right?
no, right. Yeah, that was
Nice.
it's been a fun journey explaining that to people, but yeah. And I think we're working with, we have a couple of resellers in Europe as well. And we're working on kind of building that out even more to make it more widely available in Europe because, we're based in the States. So obviously it's widely available here, but we're making a big push at these conferences in Europe, Amsterdam and Prague. And we do have a couple of resellers there for people
Nice.
who are interested.
So
That's important because yes, it is a heavy kit, so it might get some shipping costs. So I think it's in Copiaro, right? The
Correct.
Copiaro warehouse.
Yep.
It's available there. Perfect for us
Yes.
in Europe because I am in Europe at least.
Yeah.
So it's quite important to get that out
Yeah.
there
But
for people looking to get it.
I think they sold out of their first batch that we sent them. So we're sending them a new batch. So if you do see it, get it quick because there's not many resellers in Europe. So, they are flying off the shelves there.
that's so cool. Hey guys,
That's
so
good to
now
know.
that you were talking about the conferences, I wanted to jump ahead and just ask you if you're planning to on going to other physical places, conferences and stuff this year.
Yeah, we have some ideas. Officially confirmed would be Bitcoin Nashville, and I think we're about 85% on BTC Prague in June. Other than that, we're still kind of leaving our options open, but I would anticipate maybe another one or two this year. I'm just not sure yet. Yeah.
So guys, if someone listening is going to those conferences, you have to visit the stamp seed booth because otherwise you might not have the chance to touch the product or buy it more anonymously, as you guys said.
Yeah. Or at the Bitcoin Halving Party, right? If whoever's going there,
Yeah.
they'll have
Yeah.
a kit set up there too.
And since you mentioned that, I wanted to ask you guys both, why doing or sponsoring a halving party? Like, why is there a motivation for doing this?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer, George, or?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
James.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier at the top of the space, we've been partnering with George for some time now. He's kind of starts with the Stamp Seed journey, but ultimately the Having Party I feel is a good opportunity to one obviously show people Stamp Seed in a workshop environment where they can test it out and make sure it's right for them. Make sure they are comfortable with using the tools. I think that's a great environment to do it. And sponsoring something like a Having Party, we don't have too many opportunities to really celebrate Bitcoin, right? And I think it's a great moment where we can do that and also bring in new people who were maybe class of 23 or 22 to those Having parties where they can learn a little bit more about what it is. And to me, this Having is obviously the biggest so far, I would think, just because there's so much media around it. And once the Bitcoin ETFs are approved, so I just think there's going to be a lot of interest in the space, and having parties are a great opportunity to um, get involved and show the product without the distraction of these giant conferences with 10,000 people.
Perfect. Well, James pretty much covered it, so I will say something else. I recommend a lot of products. Obviously, we work with Libby. We have over 100 Bitcoin shops and partners and services, but we go the extra mile for the products that I personally like, or at least somebody in my team likes, like Libby. So I do use Stampseed. I use it for myself. I use it for my personal seed words. That's a bit of a doxing thing because now people know what to look for. But it's a tiny thing. It's a tiny thing that you can easily keep it secure. It's we have some photos of with Libby. It's basically as large as your palm, so and it's very thin, so it can be hidden in very it can be hidden away in
Yeah.
pretty much anywhere you can imagine, and there are a million uses and applications for this. And like I said, I suggest the things that I personally like and I personally use. So I immediately, as soon as I finalized the details for the Santorini Halving Party, I said, okay, you know what, James, I want to showcase this. I want to demonstrate. I want to do a proof of work session, even if it's like 5 or 10 people. I will show this. We will have them like hammering on metal and getting the feel of it and seeing with the kit and seeing it in person. If they want, they can go online at stampseed.com and use the coupon code Love is Bitcoin to order it with 10%, 15% off. It's even more than 10%. Also, I wanted to add that I've noticed if you buy uh, plates, if I buy 3 plates, I get an extra discount, right?
Yes,
I
five
noticed
five
that.
percent for three, and 10% if you get 5 plates.
Hmm. And
Yep.
that's tax with our coupon code, so that's a very good discount. And why would I buy extra plates? I can think of some reasons, but I'm sure James can tell us.
Yeah, it's so funny you ask because early on, that was one of the biggest questions I had when we first started Stampseed about, I think, like late 2020. Why are people buying multiple plates? It didn't really make sense to me. And then as I started learning a little bit more, there's multiple reasons why. One would be that people have more than one wallet with different seed words they're using for those wallets. Maybe they feel it's important to diversify and not have all their eggs in one basket. You have that opportunity. You also have the family scenario where our kit is unique, right? Where you buy the tools are the main cost of the kit. These are robust professional metal stamping tools that are patented. We have a patent on our hammer, a patent on our jig. They're professional level. The hammer is pretty badass itself. So you're putting a big expense into the kit itself. So if your whole family, family of Bitcoiners, right, you would buy one kit and 5 plates, and every person gets a plate. Additionally, people might share something like this at a meetup, and somebody goes home with the kit at the meetup, and then they bring it back the next meetup when they're done, and someone else gets the kit. And then all the anyone that wants to store their seed really just has to purchase a plate. So it's become very inexpensive compared to some of the other options out there where people are paying $60 to $100 for a whole new setup. Our cost is in the cost of the tools. So you have the scenario where people have multiple wallets, and you have this sharing family scenario, I would say as well. And then you also have people who like to do their own encryption. There's different ways to use multiple plates and spread your seed words across them. So you have a little bit of that, maybe some 2 of 3 sharding or other sort of made up encryption that people could come up with. A lot of different ways. And lastly, another important reason to have more than one plate. It doesn't hurt for, let's say you mess up on your first plate. Maybe it's a practice plate. We do provide a small disc for you to practice on, so you don't have to mess up a plate. But some people, will mess up along the way. Perhaps it does happen. So it's good to have extras, and you just never know. It's something that's good to have on hand. In my at my house, I have hardware wallets that are unopened, unused, because I just want to have them for multiple reasons. I like having possession of the hardware wallet. I don't want to have to go buy it online when I need it and wait a week for it to be sent and dox myself. When I go to these Bitcoin conferences, I buy as many wallets as I can. Some I use, some I don't use. Maybe some I'm collecting and very bullish on in the future because I think they'll be worth something. So you might want to do the same thing with a plate, right? You buy your kit and you're going to be constantly changing your wallets. I think a lot of people do that because the space is evolving. The technology behind the wallets is amazing. You have BitKey that just came out with something new. So let's say I want to go get Jack Dorsey's new BitKey, and I want to set up new seed words altogether. I'm going to create my own extra with new seed words. Now I don't have to go and buy the plate again. I already have possession. So it's just something to always have on hand. Maybe you have a Bitcoin friend or family member you orange pilled, and now it's like, oh, I have a plate for you. Go get a hardware wallet and we'll get you set up with a kit. So a lot of good reasons, but ultimately,
Mm.
like I said before, the cost is in those tools. That's your upfront cost, really, and then you just get as many plates as you need as you want. And some of the hints I dropped a little earlier about potential products that are coming out, they'll all be able to work in that same system too. So there won't be a need to buy a whole new kit again. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Just as a reminder, people can get extra plates and they can get a discount if it's 3 plates or more. And that stacks with our coupon code Love is Bitcoin that offers 15% off. So there's really no reason not to try this. I have the kit right in front of me right now, opened up, because as I said, I'm using it. And I have to comment that it feels very nice, very professional. It's not luxurious, it's simple. It's very beautiful in its simplicity, nice and heavy, and everything fits inside the box really snug. You could give this. This could be a gift to a loved one. I mean, especially to a man, for example, this would be an amazing present to give to someone when you feel like you have to help them take care of their sats, right?
Yes, 100%. It's like a perfect gift for a Bitcoiner, right? Hardware wallet, maybe some books, a stamp seed kit. It's just one of those things that you need. And the hammer itself is becoming kind of its own character in the Bitcoin space. I feel that most people really love that hammer the most. What do you think of it?
I wanna tell a little anecdote with the hammer. I met James in BTC Prague, and I bought the kit, and he was offering me the hammer as a gift. But I didn't want to get it because I was flying on the plane and I wasn't sure how much weight I had, and I was already buying so much stuff in person. So I didn't accept the hammer, and I'm very jealous of it right now because yes, it is very pretty. It's a great hammer. It's specially made. It's bronze tipped, right? And it's
It's
specially made for these tools.
yeah,
Hmm.
yes.
Tell us.
Yeah, it's actually brass tip. And the reason it's brass tip is because you're hitting the metal stamp that you're hitting is steel. You're hitting it onto a titanium plate, which is resting on a steel block. So needless to say, there's a ton of hard metals involved. If the tip of the hammer was steel, it would kind of just bounce off the top of that stamp, resulting in a more shallow impression. The brass actually is softer than the steel, so it's going to dent on the head of that hammer. The brass is going to be dented, but the reason it's denting is because it's driving your stamp in deeper, basically. So it's called a soft strike, and you're going to get basically a better hit rather than bouncing off the top of the stamp. You're going to drive in deeper, and we want these impressions as deep as possible because, like I said before, you don't want to risk the plate getting scratched by something else, and you just have kind of this scratched thing. You want something deep. So, and along with that, like I said before, the hammer is a patented product, and it was developed, early on, in the metal stamping industry. It's something that we came up with, I think, in 2017. It has a lot of features that enable accurate and deep metal stamping, some of which are that brass head, like I mentioned, a short handle that has an angle. All things that really, when you're using that hammer, you don't have to take a big exaggerated swing. You can kind of just flick your wrist and just knock the top of that stamp, and the hammer is going to be doing most of that work for you. So it promotes accuracy and deep impressions, and it just looks pretty cool compared to all the other hammers that are out there.
That was actually like what I felt when I was the first time I tried it in the Amsterdam, and I had this idea in my head that this was going to need so much strength that I wasn't going to be able to like properly stamp it into the metal, and then
Hmm.
it was so smooth. It was like it really isn't something hard to learn to use. Maybe you get it a bit moved. Maybe you have to like practice a bit, like you said, but it's something that everyone can do.
Absolutely, and it's proof of work. It's a little bit maybe harder up front in the beginning, which is why we provide that little practice metal for people to work with in each kit. But it's proof of work. It's something that you have to put that effort into to get a great result. Of course, it would be a lot easier to get something like those little square pieces of letters that people put together in a piece of metal cassette. Maybe that's easier, but it's not including as much work as involved with stamping a letter into metal, which I think results in an inferior product. And we want our seed words to be stored on the most superior product there could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I really loved it, and I think George is always jealous because I have the hammer.
I know we got to get George a hammer. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I remember you declined it
It,
too. I
it,
was like, "You sure you don't want the hammer?" And you're like, "No, no." And yeah, we'll get you one.
Yeah, that was a bad decision on my part. Yeah, I was thinking about the airplane and the bag, but yes, I'm
Yeah.
really jealous of that hammer right now. And yeah, generally, what I have to say is that the build quality is amazing. I know Libby loves that hammer. You have seen some of the photos with it, and obviously, it's easy enough to use for men and women. That's quite important. Don't think that because it has a hammer, you have to apply too much strength. It's more about accuracy and getting the letters clean and nice. I wanted to ask, since we mentioned it, how long does it take to secure one seed phrase, like let's say 24 words?
Yeah, excellent question. You know, for me, I do it so quick where, using my numbers, I wouldn't recommend. I mean, I've probably done it more than anyone, I would think. Maybe not anyone, but more people than you would expect. Just so much practicing, making so many plates that I plan to destroy. There's so much stamping involved. But it takes me a half an hour to do 24 words. I've heard some people take maybe 40 minutes, some an hour, but they're kind of including their instruction reading time and things like that. So yeah, I would say a half hour to an hour to do it. In our instructions, we tell people dedicate that much time, set it aside, do it in a quiet environment. Yeah. And I don't
Yes,
know if you,
because you need to be careful, right? With the
yeah,
words, you need to be careful, getting them straight
100%.
as much as
Yeah.
possible.
Yep.
Hmm.
And that we kind of with
That
that in mind, we've
yeah,
woven
sorry.
that into all of our tools, like our stamps, right? Like, my biggest fear with the stamps is somebody stamping a letter backwards or upside down or stamping the wrong letter altogether. One of the most common mistakes. So our stamps have markings on the side that tell you what letter you're using. It tells you which way to orient the stamp so it's going on correctly, and we try to just make it as easy as possible for that reason.
Very nice.
And then as far as the hammer goes, we were talking a little bit about that. As much as I am a Stamp Seed Hammer Maxi, we do offer the kits without the hammer because some people might want to use their own. Maybe everyone has a hammer in their house, right, or in their toolbox somewhere. So if you want to collect more sats, stack more sats, don't buy the hammer. You could buy the hammer without the kit; it's perfectly fine. But it will be a little bit more difficult, and you will have to focus much more on your swinging because the longer the handle is, the more exaggerated and wide your swing is. And the more you choke up on that longer handle, the less of leverage you're going to have because it's not as top heavy as like our 2 pound hammer that we offer. So, keeping those things in mind, when purchasing is important. But yeah, we offer the kit in like 4 different configurations for that reason.
Nice. That's quite important because I think I've seen some comments of people saying, "Oh, the entire kit is not available, it's out of stock." And yes, you can get it in any configuration that you want, basically, right?
Yeah.
Whatever's
Yeah.
available in the
Yeah.
store at any specific point.
Yeah, the kit, we're currently in, we have some stock issues with the kit now, and we are telling people that orders are going to ship late May, but there is an update on that this week. I think orders are going to be able to ship early April. So we should be back with everything soon. So people could pre-order, and I would expect things to ship early to mid-April. So update on that end.
Well, I'm happy to admit that a lot of the buyers are from the followers of Libby because they are using the Love is Bitcoin coupon to purchase. So, yes, sorry for that, for getting
Yeah.
you guys out of stock, but that's what happens with a good
Yeah, it's
product.
the bull run. The bull run, it brought a lot more people to the space, but we'll be back online in a couple of weeks, which is why we're taking those pre-orders. But we just cushioned some extra time in there that we're telling people in case you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, yep,
Okay, interesting. Let's talk now about the special edition plates. You have some plates that are special edition for the conferences, right?
yeah. It's something we started in
Hmm?
something we started Bitcoin Miami. in 2023. We wanted to make plates that were dedicated for the conference specifically that you can only get while you're at the conference. And then we continue to do that at Bitcoin Amsterdam and Bitcoin Prague. And then once, we made 21 for each conference, and once they're sold, that's it. And you could see them on our website. We keep them on the shop page, but they have a big stamp that says retired across them, because, once they're done, they're done. We don't want to re-release them because they're, collector's items, perhaps. So we started doing that with the conferences,
Nice.
which I like. But now we've even expanded to do it with artists, Bitcoin artists in the space as well as even we have a musician in the space. We did a collaboration with him too. So the plate that we have is 3 inches by 3 inches, and you have a very large canvas where you can insert a lot of work, and it lends itself well to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Since we mentioned that, let's ask Flo what happened with that collaboration, and she can tell us about the artwork.
Yeah, that was really cool. So after I tried the product in Amsterdam, I absolutely loved it. And we started talking with James, and he told me about this project, like he was doing these special plates for the conferences, and that he was starting to work with these other special plates with artists and things like that. And I thought that was such a cool idea. It's not usual to see a company, or maybe it is something that's more usual, like in the Bitcoin space, but it might not be that usual to see a company in the fiat world that has such a like a big interest in arts, and also like in arts happening today, real artists, and to combine the value that we can together bring to the user. So we started talking, and I asked him if we could do this plate with what was actually my kind of my origin drawing for my Bitcoin art. This was not maybe not the first time I tried. Like I was back in those days, I was trying like drawing, like just writing down the addresses, not doing anything in particular with them. And this was the first one that has had like a goal in it. So I represented the Dorian Nakamoto, known to not be Satoshi. And I just, it's such an special image for me because this started a road that has been amazing for me, that has led, for example, for me to be working in this amazing job, Love is Bitcoin, to get to know other amazing Bitcoiners. And that drawing, I actually, at that moment, I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. So I don't even have many pictures of it. Like I have maybe 4 pictures of the drawing. I don't have any of the like process or anything like that. And the drawing, the original one, went to a private collection. So I never saw it again, of course. And this was such a beautiful way for me to honor what this road has been all about. And I'm so happy to have done it with such an amazing company, Bitcoin Only, that provides value like proof of work and quality to the users. So yeah, that's my perspective on all of this. And I think it made sense because since the moment I saw the product, I also had this feeling of they value aesthetics. The product is so clean, it's so beautiful. You said, James, this is like these are professional tools, but it's not just like they're not just tools in the way that they are like useful, because of course they are, but they respect like beauty, which I love. We can do things that are useful, we can do things that are smart, and we can still make them beautiful.
Absolutely. No, 100%. And we found too. I do love that piece of artwork, the Dori Nakamoto piece. It came out amazing on the laser. We do all this stuff in house, of course. It's being handled by us in the States.
Plate. You can see it at the shop, and you can buy it with the coupon code Love is Bitcoin, and you can stack the seed plates and get an extra discount of 5%. The plates to secure your seeds and get a discount on those, which is kind of contradictory, right? Because this is meant to be hidden, and at the same time, you guys have some amazing artwork on them. So it's kind of a conflicting thing, I guess, right, James?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's I thought the same thing too early on, but it was at Pacific Bitcoin. It really like resonated even more where people in the Bitcoin space want something physical to hold to represent that coin, and they want to embellish it their own unique way for whatever reason it may be. They're really just enjoying it themselves, and that perhaps there could be meaning behind the reason why they're choosing the design they choose, or maybe they just want to collect it and not even stamp on that item. There are only like of the conference ones, only 21 being made. Of the particular one of Dorian, the no plate we did, we're just that's going to be an evergreen offering, but we could collaborate on things that are only at 21, and people would want to collect something like that, given the scarcity factor, perhaps. But yeah, people just ultimately want something cool to design for themselves or whoever they may be passing this down to in the future. And We want to be able to allow people to upload whatever they want onto a plate, and almost maybe you want to upload your own artwork that you encrypted your seedbird in somehow and just laser that on the plate. So that's in the future for us as well.
I really like that idea. That's so. I thought I had the same thought, George, at the beginning. I was like, this is supposed to be hidden and never to be shown, and then we are putting art into it. But then again, it's so cool to have the thing that protects the most valuable thing you have, for it to be beautiful too, and to be like part of this treasure. It's super fun, and as you said, some people just want to collect it and maybe display it as a bitcoiner kind of thing, like yeah, it's some people like to put those kind of things on their homes. Like my house is full of bitcoiner stuff, if I'm being honest.
Same here.
You know where else you see that contradiction with pretty things that are meant to be hidden? In storage vaults. In storage vaults, they are works of art. They are gorgeous. I don't know if you've seen any of them in movies and things like that.
Oh
They're
yeah,
gorgeous and they're meant to be hidden. Usually, like a couple of
absolutely.
employees and the bank manager only gets access to that. It's not the place where people get to see it, but it does get the proof of work behind it. It does get the attention that it deserves. So I guess with getting a Flo Montoya artwork on your seed plate, you basically get that feeling of this is precious, right? These are precious. So I'm gonna hide this, but it's nice, it's pretty. I took care of it. It took me an hour to hammer it carefully with the words, and it's like a Zen process, a proof of work thing, and then you treasure it. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's gonna become like a part of some people's processes, in securing their seed words. That's quite
Yeah,
important.
I agree.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, Flo, do you have anything else?
Yeah, well, we have a couple of minutes before James has to leave, and we also have some things. But before you guys go, I wanted to ask you something very different and nothing to do with the conversation we already had. And it's for you guys to tell me what is one of your unpopular opinions. It can not be, I mean, it should be really Bitcoin related, but if you have an unpopular opinion you want to share, it's not Bitcoin related, it's okay.
Oh man, yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know if I have an unpopular Bitcoin related question, just because I feel that I'm still learning so much in the space, and um, it could be very wrong in some of those regards. And then, I mean, in general, I mean, uh, living in the United States, right? A lot of my opinions might be unpopular compared to when asking the mainstream media, but when asking most people in life, they're just seemingly more popular. But it's a tricky concept here at least. I do have a lot of maybe unpopular opinions that yeah, that might be perceived that way, but actually aren't. That's all I could get into.
George, do
Okay.
you?
Yeah, I do have a big unpopular opinion, even though I teach Bitcoin workshops and I explain all these things. I have a big unpopular opinion that fits what we're talking about. I believe that we shouldn't use passphrases in our wallets. I know it's a bit crazy. I think they should be plain seed words. I I worked in IT service, and most of the problems arise from user error. And I'm positive, I'm certain that the biggest enemy in losing your seed phrase, you're losing your sats in 10, 20 years is going to be yourself. It's going to be a user error. You're not going to remember that clever passphrase that you added in your wallet. And it's worth mentioning that on the stamp seed, you can write at the end, at the edge, there's enough space to add something. You can write the passphrase on it so that you have it in one place. But when you add the passphrase, it encrypts the entire wallet, and it's a new wallet basically. And if you don't have that passphrase exactly as you put it in, that Bitcoin is lost. So I don't know if you remember Die Hard, James. I'm sure you're a Die Hard fan. I
Oh
peg
yeah,
you as a Die Hard fan.
yes.
If you remember, they were trying to steal the bearer bonds, and the bearer bonds are unregistered. They are pieces of paper. Whoever has them owns them, just like that. So I believe that in the future we will have things like stamp seed plates with seed words stamped on them, and they will be like bearer bonds. They will be people trying to find them and locate them and whatever, and they will be unsealed. Whoever finds them, whoever glances at them, they can load up a wallet and have access to that amount of sats. And that's how I believe we should secure our seed phrase, our seed words, because user error is the most possible error that you can have. I remember not being able to remember my own passwords when I was trying to see if I had any sats from any old wallets, and it was driving me crazy. And I didn't end up having any from years ago. But I that experience taught me that the simpler that you keep your setup, the better. That's opinion, or at least to try and keep them half and half. I know that's very unpopular, but yeah, I think that answers your question, Libby.
Thank you, George. James, you want to comment
Mm.
something on this, or
Yeah,
something, some ending?
yeah. No, y'all comment on that since I didn't have anything for you from a non-popular opinion standpoint. But yeah, with George, I here's another like hint at a product, I guess. But I think we are going to maybe change your opinion with something we're coming out with at the end of this year or 2025. That could
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yes,
it might
I hope
change it a
so.
little bit for you, yeah. So we'll take that for what it is. I'm sure most people out there understand what that means, but I do understand what you also mean about simple, right? Like, and I think that's really what our product is. And I'll kind of close with that. Like, I think simple is better for a lot of reasons with your seed words. To have everything it needs and nothing it doesn't, there's sort of a perfection to that. And you could look at other areas, like a line of code. The simpler it is, the better. Take out what you don't need. Bitcoin itself, the white paper, it's short compared to other white papers, right? It's simple. It has everything it needs and nothing it doesn't. All the fat and stuff you don't need, all the BS is taken out and removed. And that's kind of how I look at, the 24 words just stamped into metal, right? It just seems like a very simple, maybe even archaic thing to do. It's a very low tech solution to a high tech problem, right? But it doesn't have anything that you don't need. You just need your words to be stamped. You need your words to be, fireproof, rust-proof, crush-proof. And, there's a lot of fancy solutions out there, capsules, cassettes, things that, it's everything that, you don't need. You don't need any of that extra shit unless you really want it. But then there's the issues that some of that shit brings. Mainly a rail-based or cassette-based seed storage where you're putting little metal pieces in. They're varying metals, multiple pieces. If that device were to become heated up, it could expand and pieces fall out. If it were to become bent, those little pieces are going to fall out. Oftentimes, the metal is inconsistent, meaning the screws are not the same as the little letter tiles or the actual encasement that it's in, because it's complicated. There's too many pieces. It's a bunch of shit that you don't really need. What you really just need is your letter stamped into the titanium. So I think, to kind of elaborate on what you were saying on how, storing your seed words in a simple manner is better, right? So you don't lose everything because of a complicated passphrase you might have forgot. I think the whole approach in general, simple just makes so much sense. And if you look at when you're buying a hardware wallet, they're coming with pieces of paper that you're writing something down on, because it's simple. Like they're not giving you little pieces of letters that you're, placing in something. It's not multiple pieces. It's just one card. You have to have a pen or pencil. And we pretty much took that and said, how do we make that metal? And it doesn't need any additional pieces. You're just one solid unit. So I think that there's somewhat of a perfection in simple. You start to really test your product, test your tools, make sure that they are everything they need to be and nothing they don't need to be. And something may look simple, but the work involved with making it what it is wasn't simple. But it does provide you with a great final product that you could rely on with your generational wealth. With Stampseed, like your letters are in the metal versus becoming loose pieces that could break apart, fall apart. I mean, a kid could get a hold of some of these solutions out there and, wreck the whole bag on you from playing with one of these devices of multiple pieces. So simple is better.
Yeah, we agree on this, I think. Thank you guys so much for being here today with me and for these spaces. It's been super fun. George, do you have any last words?
Yeah, whoever is coming to the Santorini Halving Party, you get to experience my mini workshop where I demonstrate the Stampseed kit in person. If you want to get it online, you can buy it from stampseed.com with the coupon code LOVEISBITCOIN. And don't forget the Flo Montoya, the art plate. And if you are in Nashville, go talk to these guys. They're amazing. They're very fun to hang out with. And you will get to see the product in person, the damage it can endure, and how great this storage solution is. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though we mentioned you can buy everything separate, you can buy only the plate or accommodate this kit however you like, I do recommend to get the hammer. You'll get FOMO if you don't. It's a pretty cool hammer. So thanks again, guys, for being here with me. And I hope to see you soon in a new Spaces.
Excellent. Nope. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you, Libby, George.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.